as always, this year's spring transfer portal window is sponsored by Teamworks Intelligence. Their mission is simple: more hits, fewer misses in player evaluation. Now, Steve, let's get into it. And the first player we're talking about in the portal is Nico Iamaleava. You guys have been all over this. When I say you guys, I mean you and Pete Nakos, consistently reporting, one, that there was trouble brewing in Knoxville, and two, that UCLA is the team to watch. And yesterday reports were out that it is trending in that direction. But is UCLA a done deal or not with Nico Iamaleava?
Well, first of all, it was our guy, Pete Nakos, that knew about the turmoil in Tennessee before anybody. But after that story broke, UCLA was the first program that I heard as one to watch for Nico Iamaleava moving forward. And that continues to be the program I consistently hear in this recruitment. In fact, there's no other programs that we're hearing right now are in the mix for Nico Iamaleava. But you know as well as I do, Josh, things can turn on a dime with this family, with this young man and his process. But right now, UCLA is still the hot team with Nico Iamaleava.
Things can turn on a dime. Does his brother Madden leaving UCLA at the altar on National Signing Day, for those that don't remember, his younger brother just this year was committed to UCLA and flipped that commitment to Arkansas on National Signing Day? Do you think that has any impact on what's happening right now with UCLA and Nico?
Well, apparently not. And that was one that blindsided UCLA at the last minute when Madden Iamaleava flipped to Arkansas. And it just goes to show you how volatile and quickly things can change with this young man and his family. Obviously, when he signed with Tennessee, he made a bunch of headlines for how much of a business transaction that was and the money that was commanded in that recruitment for Tennessee. They went to court over it, and Tennessee, it went in Iamaleava's favor, and obviously tried to get a raise at Tennessee. Didn't go to practice last Friday, basically lost his job after that, and it has completely changed the negotiations for him since. Obviously, any backroom wheeling and dealing that was being done on Nico's behalf going into the end of last week, you had a baseline salary of over $2 million a year. That quickly went to 0.00. So I think it changed the conversations. Mm-hmm. Who is now willing to go the highest at this point in the process? UCLA is the program that is the most consistent right now in this recruitment. We'll see if another suitor or two pops up here this transfer portal cycle.
Yeah, and you mentioned, he was making $2 million plus at Tennessee. So how big of a priority is he for UCLA? Is he a $4 million priority? I know that's the number being thrown around that, Nico would like to hit. Is he that big of a priority for UCLA?
Well, I'd be very surprised because I think they already obviously landed Joey Aguilar out of the transfer portal from App State, and returns are strong, that he is doing a good job in Westwood. And again, like typically the money that is spent on athletes, you're competing against other bidders and other benchmarks here. And so the market has gone down significantly since he was let go from his prior employment at Tennessee after missing work last Friday. And that has changed everything from what I'm hearing as far as the value that he can bring in on the trail. But you and I, again, both know you're worth what someone's willing to pay you. So we'll see if someone comes in here over the next 36, 48 hours. But again, everything is lining up right. Or I should just say UCLA is the most consistent team in this process right now.
Really interesting. So what do you think? Does UCLA get this done?
Wilfong Whip Around is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the hot ticket app for fans that are looking for those last minute, hard to find, hard to get tickets. It's tournament season. Looking to be at the biggest games in March with friends or loved ones? Game Time has you covered. And Game Time is about maximizing value. So they're going to find you the best bang for your buck. In fact, right now on my Game Time app, I'm looking for Pacers tickets, an opportunity to see the best players in the NBA. And I'm finding tickets in club level for $23. And there's no hidden fees. Game time picks. Curation makes it easier to find better value for tickets to sports, concerts, comedy, theater, etc. All in pricing. Toggling this feature shows the total up front, which again, no surprise fees at checkout. You get your seat views, get a panoramic view from your seat in the app before you buy. The lowest price guarantee or game time will credit you 110% of the difference. Game time ticket coverage. Your tickets are guaranteed to be delivered on time, and your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticket industry. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use the code ON3 for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code ON3 ON3 for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Well, right now, I think they do. It'll be interesting to see what happens because, again, Joey Aguilar doing well there. That culture is on the uptick at UCLA right now under Deshaun Foster and that new staff. I do think that there are kids that would want to play with Nico, his peers. But when you just look at this situation holistically, a young man, a returning starter that didn't play up to $2 million a year last year, but it's an investment that you would think his year returning into the offense around the program that you would get a return on that. That didn't happen. So he's still a developing quarterback that all of a sudden there's a reputation that it is all about the money. You can put out a narrative, whatever you want. It's about the offense, X, Y, Z. But everybody else thinks it's about the money. And so what happens if you go to the next place and you play well? Are you instantly going to ask for a raise in October or November? Are you going to threaten to sit out the bowl game if that's your future? So these are all things that teams are balancing. And that's why the market is a lot smaller for Nico Iamaleava. If a player with a similar statistical skill set and upside went into the portal, there would be a lot more action if it wasn't for the things I just mentioned as far as are they going to ask for a raise every game after playing well? Is there going to be a request for a raise before a postseason game? Is there going to be a request for a raise before spring camp, just trying to squeeze? And look, you can do what you want, but then it sets up this situation where you get let go from your employment and the market resets.
Yeah, absolutely craziness happening right now in college football. And so we'll see. This is fascinating. All right, moving on to another former five-star leaving his team. We're talking Micah Hudson, the former five-star wide receiver out of the state of Texas, signed with Texas Tech, really did nothing as a freshman, transferred to A&M, did nothing there. Now he's leaving A&M again after just a couple months. What's happening here?
Yeah, I think some schools are trying to figure that out too, Josh, and they're putting out some feelers, calling A&M, of course, calling Texas Tech. These coaches are friends behind the scenes and then having conversations with Micah Hudson and his people. One program that is emerging for him right now is Utah. Kyle Whittingham and company, their culture is as strong as any in college football. They obviously view this as a young man that could come into Utah, has the talent to help us, and he'll fall right in line with our strong culture. So expecting him to visit Utah this weekend. Pete Nakos, our colleague, reporting that Texas Tech remains in the mix. I think that was the assumption when he went back in the portal that he would go back to Texas Tech. But Nakos reporting that's not a for sure thing as they continue to go through their process in Lubbock. But there are other schools spieling him out. I wouldn't be surprised if we see another program or two emerge for Micah Hudson because he is indeed very talented.
Yeah, I want to say some other things, but I wish we knew exactly why some of these guys were leaving. Like, we know he's not leaving A&M because of money. We know he's not leaving Texas Tech or A&M because of money. But what would be the reason to leave A&M? I mean, they have a quarterback. They have all the money you could want. They have an up-and-coming coach. Like, I just don't understand some of these situations.
Well, when you have 85 players on scholarship, not all 85 are going to be happy. And again, a new era of college football. He, for whatever reason, left Texas Tech, which by all indications, that's a fun place to play for a coaching staff that's player coaches. Yeah. And Texas Tech
upgraded that roster really well this offseason too.
Texas Tech invested heavily to land Micah Hudson over blue chip programs like Texas and Ohio State. We know what Texas Tech is doing in the transfer portal. That is no accident. They are fully funded. So I think he's just trying to find a place where he's happy. And certainly you hear some narratives behind the scenes about the young man that then makes him as some college programs would say, a risk to take, because to play at the highest level, to play at these championship level programs, you have to be hungry. You got to be juiced up to be there and want to put in the extra work. We'll see if Utah is a program that can get the best out of him, because, again, we think he's very talented. He just got to be happy wherever he lands. That's my viewpoint on it.
All right. Notre Dame safety Kennedy Urlacher, the son of Hall of Famer Brian Urlacher, is in the portal with a no-contact tag. We've seen this happen before. I mean, Nico hit the portal with a no-contact tag. So what does it mean for Urlacher and his destination?
We'll talk to a source on Thursday morning about Kennedy Urlacher's process, and they seem to think USC is the team to watch for Kennedy Urlacher. USC is a program that I think is very invested in the portal this spring cycle as they try and continue to build on a season last year where they were just on the cusp. They were in a lot of those ball games, but there is a lot of pressure on Lincoln Riley and that coaching staff to have a big year. So this portal cycle, looking for more difference makers, guys that can help this roster. Kennedy Urlacher is someone that I'm hearing is trending towards the Trojans right now going into the weekend.
UNC, they're going QB hunting in South Alabama. South Alabama quarterback Gio Lopez is in the portal, and it seems like he's a target for the Tar Heels.
Yeah, I think he's trending towards North Carolina. So does colleague Pete Nakos. Our on-3 RPM reflects that for Gio Lopez. This is a young man that completed 66% of his passes in his first year as a starter last fall for South Alabama. Threw for over 2,500 yards, 18 touchdowns to just 5 interceptions. He's accurate, takes care of the football, 220 pounds, built more like a tailback. But North Carolina, this is the guy that they're all in on. There was some Tar Heel rumors about Nico Iamaleava when his name was announced in the transfer portal. But this is the guy, Gio Lopez, their top target, and I like where they stand right now.
All right, let's stick with UNC, and now we're going to talk Beau Atkinson. He is an edge prospect that's already put his name in the portal, so he's no longer a Tar Heel, but we know Georgia's involved because Rusty Manziel, Dogs HQ, was on this channel yesterday saying as much. But Beau Atkinson, he's drawing a ton of attention. Who else is in this battle?
Yeah, easy to see why. You're talking about a 6'6", 265-pound pass rusher that had 7.5 sacks last season. Ohio State is a program that I have a keen eye on right now for Beau Atkinson as Ohio State tries to touch up a roster that's coming off a national championship. Georgia, as you said, South Carolina is a program that's trying to make a major push for Beau Atkinson as well.
All right, let's talk about one of these prospects at a lower level that all of a sudden is getting interest from nearly every school in America. Steve, these situations have to be crazy. We're talking about offensive tackle Joe Cotton. He's about 6'7", 315 pounds, plays at South Dakota. He probably never received a phone call in his life during this high school process from any of these coaches, but now he has about a week to decide, and he's hearing from everyone. What's the latest on Joe Cotton?
Well, he's 6'7", 315 pounds, had a fantastic career over there at South Dakota. He is drawing some major interest, already has visits set up for Wisconsin and Cincinnati. Michigan is a program that I'm keeping an eye on. His transcripts were sent to the Wolverines on Wednesday after going into the portal. They're looking to add one more difference maker on the offensive line. Joe Cotton is a guy that's on their radar, so we'll see if Sharon Moore and company turn it up a notch, but Wisconsin and Cincinnati are certainly in play.
All right, before we get out of this transfer portal segment, Steve, you dropped a new prediction for the Dogs just before we went on air. Who is it?
Yeah, Pete Nakos and I hearing that Georgia is trending for Alabama A&M defensive tackle Cedric Smith. He's 6'4", 310 pounds. He's from Atlanta, Georgia. So for his recruitment, his process to come full circle the way it's trending is pretty cool. This is a guy that grinded it out on JUCO, Alabama A&M. Now a chance to go play for Kirby Smart and the Bulldogs. We're hearing he is headed to Georgia. Certainly he's got that SEC size, going to add some depth at the point of attack for a Georgia team that's looking to bounce back from a playoff loss to Notre Dame, get right back into the championship hunt after winning the SEC last year.